Let me tell you something, my friends. Success doesn't start with luck. It doesn't start with opportunity. It starts with you. You've heard it said, leadership is influence. But here's the real truth. Before you can lead others, you must learn to lead yourself. Because if you can't control your own mind, your own habits, your own direction, how can you expect life to follow your command? Success is not a chase. You don't chase success. You attract it. And you attract it by the person you become. That's the secret. You don't get paid for the hour. You get paid for the value you bring to that hour. And the value comes from who you are becoming on the inside. So today, let's talk about self-leadership, the foundation of every form of success. Because until you lead yourself, success will stay just out of reach. But once you do, everything in your life begins to move in the right direction. Now think about this. Everyone wants to change their life, but few want to change themselves. Everyone wants more money, more recognition, more freedom, but they don't want to change their habits, their thinking, their daily disciplines. But success doesn't come from what you want. It comes from what you're willing to become. If you want life to change, you've got to change. If you want things to get better, you've got to get better. That's what I learned early in my journey. If I want my life to improve, I must first improve me. Now, leading yourself isn't about being perfect. It's about being aware. Aware of where you are. Aware of what you're doing. Aware of what needs to change. Because awareness is the first step toward growth. You can't manage what you don't understand. And you can't improve what you don't measure. So the question is, who's leading you today? Your emotions? Your distractions, your fears, or your vision, your discipline, your purpose? See, self-leadership is choosing your direction, even when no one's watching. It's keeping your promises to yourself. It's doing the work when no one claps for you. Because it's not the audience that makes you great. It's your consistency, your integrity, your habits. You see, success follows order. Not chaos, not confusion. If you're waiting for motivation to strike, you'll wait a long time. You don't need more motivation. You need discipline. You need to wake up and lead yourself, even when it's hard, even when it's inconvenient. Because one day of strong self-leadership is worth 1,000 days of excuses. So remember, you don't find success. You build it. You build it through habits, through choices, through daily self-discipline. Success will follow you when you lead yourself first, because the world doesn't pay you for what you know. It pays you for what you do, and what you do flows directly from who you are. So work harder on yourself than you do on your job. Become the kind of person who naturally attracts success instead of chases it. Lead yourself with clarity, with courage, and with consistency, and life will open its doors to you. That's the great secret of personal development. You become the kind of person who doesn't need to look for success, because success is already following you. Discipline is the bridge between goals and accomplishment, between intention and reality. And that bridge, my friend, is built one brick at a time, one decision at a time, one act of self-leadership at a time. You see, self-leadership begins with discipline, because without discipline, desire is only daydreaming. Everybody wants success. Everybody wants change. But very few are willing to develop the discipline it takes to make it real. When I was younger, I wanted a better life. I wanted wealth, freedom, happiness. But then I learned something my mentor told me. For things to change, you have to change. And that hit me hard. Because for years, I was waiting for opportunity, waiting for the right time, waiting for something or someone to come along and lift me up. But opportunity doesn't come to those who wait. It comes to those who prepare. It comes to those who lead themselves long before anyone follows. So, I made a decision to discipline myself, to stop doing what was easy and start doing what was necessary. And I'll tell you something, it wasn't easy at first. Discipline rarely is, but that's the beauty of it. Discipline makes you strong. It builds your backbone. It turns chaos into order and potential into progress. The first victory you win each day is not out there in the world. It's in here within yourself. The moment you tell your mind, get up, let's go, we've got work to do, that's when leadership begins. Now, I've learned this. You can't lead yourself with emotion. You lead yourself with principle. Because emotions are fleeting. They change with the weather. One day you feel motivated. The next day, you don't. But discipline doesn't ask how you feel. It asks what you decided. Discipline says, do it anyway. Even when it's hard. Even when no one's watching. Even when the results are slow to show up. Because discipline is not about punishment. It's about freedom. Freedom from laziness. Freedom from regret. Freedom from the weight of unfulfilled potential. So let me give you something to remember. If you want to lead yourself, create rules for your life. Not to restrict you, but to guide you. Set your alarm early and don't hit snooze. Write your goals every morning. Feed your mind with good books. Work on your craft daily. And when you make a promise to yourself, keep it. Because that's how you build self-respect. And self-respect is the foundation of leadership. If you can't trust yourself, who can? Let's face it. Discipline is doing the work today. For a reward that may not come for months or years, it's the small, quiet victories that no one sees. The workouts you complete alone, the late nights spent learning, the early mornings spent planning. That's self-leadership. That's the kind of discipline that turns ordinary people into extraordinary leaders. And here's the best part. When you discipline yourself, you don't just improve your life. You inspire others to do the same. You lead by example, not by words, but by presence, by consistency, by integrity. That's the mark of a true leader. So, here's the question. Will you lead yourself today? Not next week. Not when you feel ready. Today. Because self-leadership doesn't start with a crowd. It starts in the quiet corners of your life, where you decide who you're going to be and what you're going to stand for. And once you do that, success can't help but follow you. It's a law of life. When you discipline your mind, discipline your habits, and discipline your time, life eventually bows to your leadership. So remember, discipline yourself today, so tomorrow you can live the life most only dream about. Because success doesn't come to those who wish for it. It comes to those who lead themselves toward it. And that, my friends, is the art of self-leadership. Let me tell you something, my friends. Before you master the world, you must master your mind. Because the greatest battle you'll ever fight won't be against competition, won't be against your circumstances, and it won't be against time. It will be you versus you. The part of you that wants to grow versus the part that wants to stay comfortable. The part that says, I can, and the part that whispers, I can't. That's the inner game of leadership. And whoever wins that battle controls everything else. Now, most people don't lose to the world. They lose to their own thoughts. They lose to doubt, to fear, to hesitation. They start something, but the mind begins to whisper. What if it doesn't work? What if you fail? What will they say? And that whisper, if you don't master it, becomes your reality. Because here's what I've learned. Your mind is like a garden. If you don't plant flowers, weeds will grow automatically. If you don't intentionally feed it with growth, it will feed itself with worry. If you don't discipline your mind to think success, it will drift toward fear, doubt, and excuses. So, if you want to lead yourself, start with mastering that garden. Here's the rule. Guard your mind like a fortress. Don't let just anything enter. Your mind is precious real estate. Every thought that enters builds or destroys your future. If you fill it with negativity, don't be surprised when your results reflect it. Because as a man thinketh, so is he. That's an ancient truth, but it's never been more relevant than today. You must choose your thoughts the same way you choose your clothes. Choose what fits your vision, not your fears. Choose what strengthens you, not what weakens you. Let's take this deeper. You can't lead others if your own mind is in chaos. You can't teach clarity if your thoughts are cloudy. And you can't model strength if your inner world is full of noise. Leadership is not about controlling people. It's about controlling yourself. So, start small. Start by mastering your morning. Don't wake up and reach for your phone. Reach for your purpose. Feed your mind before the world feeds it confusion. Read, reflect, plan. Set your intention for the day. Because intention gives direction to thought. If you don't give your mind an assignment, it will wander off into distraction. Now here's something worth writing down. You can't control everything that happens to you, but you can control what happens within you. That's leadership. Every day brings challenges. Some days will be heavy. Some people will disappoint you. Some dreams will take longer than you hoped. But you always have the power to choose your response. And your response is what defines your character. Weak minds react. Strong minds respond. When life throws you off balance, don't curse the storm. Adjust your sails. That's the inner game. That's how you rise above circumstances. And stay true to your vision. And let me remind you of something. Your mind listens to you. Whatever you speak about yourself, it starts to believe. So be careful with your words. Don't say, I can't. Say, I'm learning. Don't say it's impossible. Say it will take time, but I'll find a way. Talk to yourself the way a great leader would talk to their team. With strength, with belief, with encouragement. Because you are the first person you lead every day. Now, once you master your mind, you'll notice something magical happens. The world starts to cooperate. You'll see opportunities where others see obstacles. You'll stay calm where others panic. You'll find solutions where others only complain. That's what leadership looks like on the inside. And soon, people will ask you, how do you stay so focused, so disciplined, so positive? And you'll smile because you'll know the truth. You've simply learned to master your mind. So here's your assignment. Every day, take a few minutes to train your thoughts. Catch yourself when you drift into negativity. Pause, replace it, redirect it. Your mind is the compass that sets your life's direction. If it points toward fear, you'll live small. If it points toward faith, you'll live bold. So feed your mind with wisdom, protect it from nonsense, and program it with purpose. Because once you master your mind, you've mastered the foundation of all success. And that's what true self-leadership is about. Winning the inner game first, so the outer game becomes easy. If I could give you one secret, my friends, one quiet key to extraordinary success, it would be this: consistency, not intensity, not bursts of excitement, not once in a while discipline. Consistency, doing the right things every day, not perfectly, but persistently. Because success doesn't come from what you do once in a while. It comes from what you do consistently. You see, the great ones aren't made by one big moment. They're built in the small hours, the unnoticed efforts, the daily disciplines that compound quietly over time. It's what you do when no one is watching, when there's no applause, when the results haven't shown up yet. That's where leadership is born. Consistency is what transforms average into excellence. It's what turns potential into power. It's the proof that you can trust yourself. And that trust builds momentum. Now, here's the truth most people miss. You don't need to do a lot. You just need to do a little every day. Because small daily wins become great victories over time. Read 10 pages. Make one more call. Spend 10 minutes reflecting. Save a small portion of your income. Do it every day. Do it when it's boring. Do it when it's hard. Do it when you don't feel like it. Because consistency compounds. Let me tell you, a small step forward every day is far more powerful than one big leap followed by months of standing still. Consistency doesn't shout. It whispers. It doesn't demand attention. It simply delivers results. You see, discipline starts the engine, but consistency keeps it running. And here's the most beautiful part. Once consistency becomes habit, effort turns into ease. The things that once felt hard become natural. And the things that once required motivation become your new standard. That's the power of consistent self-leadership. But let's be honest. Consistency is not exciting. It's not glamorous. It's often repetitive, even dull. But you know what's worse? Starting over. Because inconsistency always takes you back to the beginning. And starting over costs you time, energy, and belief. So, keep your promises to yourself, especially the small ones. Because every time you follow through, you cast a vote for the kind of person you're becoming. When you show up daily, you're not just getting tasks done. You're building character. And character is what the world eventually rewards. Now here's something to think about. The same sun that melts the butter hardens the clay. It's not the conditions that determine your outcome. It's your consistency in facing those conditions. You can't control the wind, but you can control your sails every single day. Consistency isn't about perfection. It's about staying in motion. It's about showing up again and again and again. Even on the days you fall short, get back up. Because success isn't about never falling. It's about refusing to stay down. Remember this formula. Consistency plus time equals transformation. You won't see it immediately. You might not feel it tomorrow, but give it time. Because every drop fills the bucket. Every effort builds momentum. Every act of discipline becomes part of who you are. And one day, you'll wake up and realize you've become the person you once only dreamed of being. Not because of luck, not because of a miracle, but because of daily, consistent self-leadership. So, here's your challenge. Be consistent with your mindset. Be consistent with your habits. Be consistent with your goals. Show up for yourself even when no one claps. Show up even when progress feels slow. Show up because that's what leaders do. And before long, you'll notice something powerful. Success starts following you. Opportunities start appearing. Momentum begins to build. Not by accident, but by design. Because when you lead yourself consistently, you become unstoppable. Remember, don't try to be extreme. Be consistent. Extreme gets you attention. Consistency gets you results. And over time, those small daily wins will turn into big, beautiful victories. Because consistency is the language of success. And those who speak it fluently lead their lives to greatness. Now, we've talked about self-discipline, consistency, and the power of leading yourself. But let's bring it all home. Because philosophy is nice. Mindset is powerful. But action is what turns philosophy into profit and dreams into results. You can't just think your way to success. You must lead yourself into it through motion, through momentum, through movement. Here's the truth. Success doesn't respond to wishes. It responds to work. It responds to action. You can have all the knowledge, all the books, all the motivation. But if you don't take the first step, nothing changes. So let's talk about turning self-leadership into results. 1. The power of decisive action. Most people wait for the perfect time. They say, when I feel ready, I'll start. But here's the secret. You'll never feel perfectly ready. Success doesn't come to the most prepared. It comes to the most decisive. It's better to start with a rough plan and adjust than to keep planning forever and never begin. You don't need all the answers. You just need the courage to begin. I used to say, if you wait until you're ready, you'll spend your whole life waiting. Start where you are, with what you have, and do what you can. Because life rewards the doer, not the dreamer. 2. Translate thoughts into habits. Now, remember this. Your thoughts are the blueprint. Your habits are the builders. If you want to see progress in your life, turn your daily thoughts into daily actions. You say, I want to be healthy. Good. Then eat one clean meal today. You say, I want to grow my business. Good. Then make one phone call today. You say, I want to be disciplined. Good. Then wake up early tomorrow and start the day with intention. You see, your habits are the vote you cast for the person you wish to become. Each small action is a signal to your mind. This is who I am now. It's not one massive change that transforms your life. It's 1,000 small decisions repeated daily, that compound into greatness. Remember, consistency turns effort into excellence. 3. Don't just plan, perform. Now, don't misunderstand. Planning is important. But if you spend all your time planning and none of your time performing, you'll have a great notebook but no results. The bridge between your dreams and your reality is execution. So, each day, ask yourself, what one thing can I do today to move closer to my goals? Not think about, not talk about, not post about. Do something real, something tangible, something measurable. Because it's better to take one imperfect action than to sit on 1,000 perfect intentions. 4. Lead yourself through your emotions. Now, here's where most people stop. They take action when they feel good, when they're motivated, when it's sunny and everything's going right. But the true leader, the one who leads himself first, acts even when he doesn't feel like it. You can't let your emotions run your day. You must let your values run your day. Some days you'll feel tired. Some days you'll feel uninspired. But discipline says, I made a commitment and I'll keep it. You lead your emotions instead of letting your emotions lead you. And that's what separates the amateurs from the professionals. That's what separates dreamers from doers. Anyone can act on a good day, but a leader acts no matter what day it is. 5. Track, reflect, and adjust. Now, here's something important. Leadership is not about perfection. It's about progress. You'll stumble. You'll make mistakes. You'll fail. But the question is, do you learn from it? Self-leadership means you check your progress. You track your habits. You reflect on your results. Every week, sit down with yourself and ask, what worked? What didn't? What will I do differently? Because reflection turns experience into wisdom. Without reflection, you repeat the same mistakes. With reflection, you evolve. An evolution, that's leadership in motion. Remember this. Don't just go through the day, get from the day. 6. Surround yourself with accountability. Even the strongest leader needs accountability. Because we're all human. We all get lazy. We all drift. So, find people who challenge you. Find mentors who call you higher. Surround yourself with those who make excuses uncomfortable. If you hang around winners, you'll start thinking like one. If you spend time with people who expect more from themselves, you'll begin expecting more from yourself. Leadership grows best in environments of high standards. You can't soar with eagles if you keep walking with ducks. So, choose your circle wisely. 7. The final step, align thought, discipline, and action. Now, let's put it all together. Thought, discipline, action. That's the formula. That's the chain of success. Your thoughts give direction. Your discipline gives consistency. Your action gives results. If any link breaks, the chain fails. If your thoughts are weak, your actions will lack power. If your discipline is weak, your actions will be inconsistent. But when all three align, when your mind, your habits, and your actions work together, success becomes predictable. You don't chase it anymore, you attract it. Because success follows those who lead themselves first. So, as we close this lesson, remember, don't just wait for opportunity, prepare for it. Don't just wish for a better life, work for it. And don't just think like a leader, live like one. Because in the end, life doesn't reward your intentions. It rewards your execution. So lead yourself every day, every moment, every decision. And soon you'll look around and realize that success didn't just visit you by luck. It followed you because you were walking in the direction of discipline, of purpose, of self-leadership. And when you lead yourself first, success will always follow.